Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back. Figured we do some live stuff this time and see how that works out. Today, we want to talk about many different things, including a new video from Music Man Mike, where him and Kristi and some other dude were having a conversation. Now, in this conversation, they brought on their token disabled friend, and that friend was, I don't know how to say it without sounding mean, but he was very, very special. And I'm going to go ahead and show some clips from that video. I was talking to Bearing about it, and basically, this is their, hey, look, we're inclusive, and this is our special needs friend. That's their mentality. So let's see if I could get this right and get that up for you guys. Let me go ahead and share that, and let's make sure sound's coming through. I do not believe the audio is playing, so I do not understand what's going on here, but let's get past that. In this video alone, you have Kristi Winters and Mikey Rowlands with their friend here who is handicapped, obviously. And what they're currently doing is talking trash about anyone and everyone in the community. That includes Shoe on Head, which they are claiming is still a how do you say, transphobe? Yeah, they're claiming she's a transphobe, which, to be quite honest, is a stretch when she is not a transphobe at all and is very open and allows people in to her, mind and everything else. She has, trans friends, she has other people. She's not transphobic at all. And for them to go on this tirade and send their, 20, 30,000 followers and hatred towards Shoe on Head is quite ridiculous. This was Mike's stream, and Mike is one of those guys who loves to act like he is better than everyone. And that tends to be where he lands. If anyone in here wants to chat or jump in, please let me know. We're going to go ahead and continue talking about this stuff, as well as talking about some other things here to, continue the conversation. Sorry, pardon me. I really wanted to show you guys that and help so you guys could play audio. That way, well, what's going on, man? It's not Cinco de Mayo yet. What up, Malevolent? So it's May the 4th, man. It's still May the 4th here on the West Coast, Drinko de Mayo starts tomorrow, man. Yeah, I was trying to play back a you living on the East Coast, my friend. Gotcha. Well, are you already out drinking, or what? What do we got going on tonight? Trying to share the audio from this clip, but apparently this stupid ass thing is not allowing me to. Let me see if I can get this fixed real quick. Oh. No drinking for you then? Yeah, I wanted to I don't know if you've had anyone in here's had the chance to check it out. I'm gonna go ahead and link to it because it is cringe video. Let me see here. Kristi, Winners, Mike Rollins, and their other friends having their live stream today, and I wanted to share the video with you, but I guess because I'm not on OBS right now, I can't share sound, which bugs the shit out of me. So, yeah, you should check that video out if you have the chance. Even if you just watch like the first few minutes, it is one of the most cringy initial. No toxic mail. No, this is tied into toxic mail. We're just trying to find out some gaming stuff and get that organized. I'm trying to get more interactive streaming going on here where I can bring on guests and other people from the community at large and get them in here to have conversations. You know, let alone it's not just me that everyone wants to talk or hear from. I want to get some of these other peeps in here who, you know, are in the same community as me and hear their thoughts on things. One of my really good friends who I stream on other channels with, he's someone I'd like to bring in, but I don't know what he's got going on tonight. Say could change the audio input device to your audio card from your mic. So hold on, let me see if that'll work. Let me go into my sound settings here real quick. Oh, it's one of the cunt stream guys. They're not streaming tonight, I guess. So I was gonna bring one of them over. Oh, I can always switch back and forth. Yeah, I don't know why that might work. Let's see. Let me pull playback out of my headphones. See if we can get to that. Let's try it now. Yeah, let me know if it's playing through. I don't know why it pulled it up that way. Hold on one second. Boom. So is it playing through? Okay. Yeah, it's playing. It's because you could probably hear it off of my. Yeah, it's just playing through. It's just hearing it through my device. What I need to do is, yeah, I'm not getting anything either on mine. Let me see. I know there's a fucking way because even it says you can play through audio through. I don't know why it's so goddamn low. Yeah, I'm just getting used to this setup. So let me see about this because I'm really annoyed right now. Yeah, I might have to actually use OBS or something in order to get it to actually play back properly. It's a bummer because I wanted to freaking I wanted it to actually I wanted to play it and then talk about it because it's pretty interesting to watch these shenanigans of the people and allowing them to speak for themselves instead of just commenting on it because I could do that in any kind of video, you know. Real, let's see. Let's see if that'll work. Yeah, sorry. This is a learning experience for me. What about now? Are you pulling any sound over there, Matt? Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I mean, I could always set OBS if I really, really want to. I tried, pulling it through and just setting it up on my own, but it is what it is. I'm not too worried about it for tonight. I don't mind just interacting and talking with the audience and people that are part of my community because it's honestly a lot of the fun part of what I like doing, and pulling people in. Hmm. Yeah, and have to dick around with it a bit and play with it. Cause yeah, the dumps tonight. Yeah, that'll be what, 11 Pacific usually is when he does it. Yeah, I figured I'd fill out and do some learning experience here tonight with you guys and, everyone else and just talk about some things. But yeah, so it's 2 a.m. there. Where the hell are you at, man? Oh, that's when the show comes out. Yeah, 2 a.m. So it's 11 p.m. here when he does the dump. We were talking yesterday night with Bearing and some of the other guys from the Cunt stream, and uh, there's been a lot going on. Like it's been a weird month already to start off. You have Kanye West getting ran over because he makes a statement like slavery is a choice, and he's talking about current slavery, in my opinion. And from what he's, finishes the conversation. I don't know if you guys saw or have seen that video where what is up, Brockus? Let me get my headphones set up here. Is that you making clicking sounds, good sir?
Yes, it is.
Oh, okay. I just want to make sure. My freaking, I was trying to figure out, because there's a way to play sound through Hangouts, and I was going to play the recent Kristi winners and Music Mike Rowland's stream from today, where they go shit on Chew on Head and bring up Bearing yet again and other people. It was pretty fucking funny.
Wait, they did it again? Like
Yeah,
recently?
today. They had a live stream today on Mike's channel.
Kristi Winters, Shoe on Head, and Armored Skeptic?
No. It wasn't them together. No. They were
Oh.
talking shit about Shoe on Head. It was Mike Rollins, Kristi Winter, some guy who's special needs, and one of the other guys who's with them.
Honestly, I really can't stay for too long, but do you have any idea how fucking pathetic that actually is? Like, Shoe on Head and Armored Skeptic a couple of years ago were streaming with two people that run in the same circle as Kristi Winters and Michael Rollins. And both Shoe on Head and Armored Skeptic took shots at Bearing. Armored Skeptic was the one who was mainly talking shit by basically pointing out that Bearing is kind of a bully. Like, not in his actual words. It's not; those aren't his literal words or anything. But the way some people were taking it was, he was saying Bearing is kind of a bully and he uploads every fucking day and shit. And then Shu said, "Well, no, we like Bearing. I just don't like it when he goes after little girls." Again, this was at a time when people were making accusations of Bearing, specifically Kristi Winters, Tim Blake, and Michael Rollins, saying Bearing bullied this person. I looked into all of that shit. I've been following Bearing for several years now. He never once bullied a fucking kid. In fact, the nicest videos that you will ever see Bearing have when he's disagreeing with someone is if he's doing it on a fucking kid. Even if it's like a 19-year-old, someone who looks really young. If Bearing sees that they've clearly not experienced a whole lot in their life, he's gonna have softer gloves, but he's still gonna tell them they're wrong. He's not gonna be an asshole about it, but he's gonna tell them they're wrong or why they're wrong or something along those lines. But he's actually very nice about it. He never once bullied anyone off fucking YouTube. What happened in that particular scenario is some fucking 13-year-old, some 13-year-old made a response video about a 12-year-old who was a huge fan of Undoomed. And the 13-year-old got fucking massacred by Undoomed, Bearing, and that kid's collective fucking fans online. But it wasn't really a massacre. It was a bunch of people who at first got pissed at him for doing that video against the 12-year-old in the first place and being as nasty and hateful as he fucking was. And then Undoomed did a soft video on him, pretty much saying like, hey, this is a fan of mine. Don't fucking talk shit about a fan of mine. Also, you're fucking wrong, kid. And then Bearing did something kind of similar. The kid apologized publicly on his YouTube channel to the kid he essentially was being a cyberbully to, even mentioned that Bearing and Undoomed were right, and eventually deleted his fucking YouTube channel because he realized he was being a prick for no goddamn reason. The kid left on his own.
Jesus, and this was in the time frame when Shoe on Head was and Skeptic were interacting with those fuckers?
Yes, and around that same time, Bearing had done a video about another fucking bedroom feminist who was this little girl who got actually, I shit you not, some faggot who sounds exactly like Angry MGTOW, some fat, partially black dude, or possibly Samoan, I don't know. He was just being a complete unpleasant cunt to some bedroom feminist. That's it. And Bearing did a response video to him, not the bedroom feminist, to him. He did point out how the bedroom feminist was most likely wrong in her statistical fucking findings and everything, because it sounds like she's just getting it from, random sources, whatever the case was. But Bearing pointed out that that guy who was doing that response, I can't remember what his fucking name was. It was like Angry Game Reviewer or some shit like that. That dude, he was calling that motherfucker out. He even called him out on a live stream. He basically says, you realize you owe that girl $50, right? Because he made a public bet that said, watch, I bet you $50. She's not going to actually, I will get, like he even said, I will give her $50 if this doesn't happen. But she's going to delete the comment section and the thumbs up, thumbs down section. She didn't do either of those things. So for like a week or so, Bearing was actually like kind of bugging that dude, saying like, you owe her $50. You were wrong. You're a fucking a shit person. And then that dude eventually tried claiming that Bearing ruined his career, and he eventually faded into nothing. Again, all within the same time frame of Shu basically saying what she said and Armored Skeptic saying what he said, and Kristi, Tim, and Michael and all of them continuously painting Bearing to be like this horrible fucking guy. And I'm like, if anything, he's just an asshole with a microphone who's making funny videos, entertaining the shit out of me, and being nice when he needs to be nice and shit. You guys are trying to paint him to be a worse fucking person than he actually is, and you're pretty much pointing out how fucking horrible of a person you are at this point. What's wrong, Greg? You don't like the fact that Bearing is getting more views than you on average, even though you had a bigger fan base at the time? Well, what's going on, Shu? You're not a huge fan of the fact that your fucking internet crush was completely being stomped out by a fucking cartoon bear? I don't get it. I think people just shit on Bearing because they just want to shit on Bearing because it's fucking popular, and it's just like, are you guys fucking kidding me? Go fuck yourselves.
Yeah, and then you have and now even after, you know, a little ways down the road after they Shu and Armor agreed, you have those same people. Tim Blake wasn't there, but it was Mike and Kristi, and like honestly, I'm gonna screen share with you. You can't hear any sound, but like the guy, you can tell he's very much how do you say this nicely? Special needs, like extremely special needs. And I was talking to Bearing about this earlier. I'm like, who is this guy and why is he on their stream? And he's like, oh, that's their token inclusive person. You know, he's actually special needs. I'm like, yeah, dude, I thought it was a joke at first, but then I realized the crowd he was with, and I'm like, they wouldn't stand for that. And I don't know the kid's name, but like he literally talks with such a heavy impediment. He is definitely like special needs, and for like, I don't know if it feels like they're using the kid, you know?
Yeah, I wouldn't even be remotely surprised by that, to be honest.
I know you can't hear it, but look at his like facial reactions and everything like that. He talks extremely slow. You can tell that, you know, he has some sort of, you know, learning disability or something. And I guess from what Bearing was saying is this kid's actually made a video calling him, you know, like, you know, sexist and shit, calling Bearing out.
Mm-hmm.
And it was right when the Fisty Splinters character came around, and this whole thing, and they're jumping on Shu now because they're calling her a transphobe.
Oh yeah, no, I okay. When Tim, Kevin, Garrett, Kristi, and all of them, when they actually did like Armored Skeptic and Chewadhead, this was about a year and a half, roughly a year and a half before VidCon and before Mythicist Milwaukee. When Shu and Armored Skeptic were just YouTubers who were dating, or just YouTubers who were making YouTube videos and stuff, Armored Skeptic was primarily doing anti-religious videos or debunking stupid religious science videos and shit like that, or specifically Josh Feuerstein. Shu was still doing all of the anti-feminism, anti-SJW stuff, so she might have not been very well liked. But the fact that Shu would have like regular interactions with ContraPoints, it showed that Shu was a little more open and a little more open-minded and stuff, and she continuously brought up the fact that she actually has a trans best friend. Like her best friend growing up through high school was a girl, and then eventually transitioned to be a guy. I shit you not, most fucking realistic looking guy I've seen in a long time. I'm like, so wait, that was born without penis? Fucking way to go. You did a damn good job with the illusion.
Yeah, I've seen that, friend. I thought it was a dude.
Yeah, I'm pretty goddamn. I swear that guy looks like he was born with the right set of genitals and everything. But no, actually, that is a trans man, female to male. And I'm like, that is impressive. Congratulations. You actually have a very good looking boyfriend right there. But then, you know, they're not actually dating. They were just best friend. I'm like, yeah, fuck it, whatever. Fag hag, fag hag boyfriend. I don't give a shit. But no, they liked those two because of the fact that they were more open-minded. They were willing to talk to the extreme left, the calm left, the kind of more calm right and stuff, but they refused to talk to the extreme right. They hit all the markers that Kristi and the others wanted. And then VidCon rolls around. They're still liked, but they kept showing up amongst certain circle of people that Kristi despises. And then MythCon happened. And because Sargon was going, Kristi used that to specifically attack both Shoe on Head and Armored Skeptic, simply because they actually stood up for Sargon at one point and said, I don't understand why you got to hate on Sargon so much. It's MythCon. He is an atheist. Why wouldn't he be allowed to actually speak at this convention? Because they may have, or I think maybe Shoe specifically, may have stood up for Sargon. That was the giant no-no for Kristi. Hence, they became public enemy number one. So that's why Kristi and the others fucking despise them now, or just don't like them now, because they've done the ultimate no-no.
Well, yeah, and they even use people who didn't like Shoe because of situations at VidCon, like that crazy hair girl. That girl's been on Kristi Winter's stream.
Oh, I'm certain.
I've seen it.
As soon as Kristi fucking gets wind of anyone that has a problem with the people she has specifically gone after for, Kristi is going to extend a fucking hand to try to bring them on her goddamn platform and basically give them the speaking ground, so long as they do nothing but bash the shit out of that person.
Yeah, and that's what it was. I saw shit. She brought her on, and that chick has stated that she agrees with, you know, Sargon and these other people, and for them to flip the script so fast and easy, it's just funny. And watching the stream today, they dive in, like they bring up Bering at one point, just in passing, and that's that special needs kid. He brings up Bering, like out of nowhere. It's not like he's interacted with Bering recently, or he's had any conversations with Bering recently, or any of them haven't even targeted Bering recently, and they pop him in there at any point in time that they can to, you know, make him look like the bad guy, you know?
No, yeah, it's completely understandable. I don't think he did it in passing. I think it was intentional.
Oh, I'm sure it was, but it was like completely out of topic, and
yeah.
You know, he just wanted to mention Bering because, you know, it wouldn't be a Music Mike or anyone else's stream without bringing Bering up and, you know, shitting on him in some manner or way.
Yeah, like you could even use me in the last few weeks as a good example of somebody who's probably doing that, not necessarily because they're trying to get attention, but because they're still a little pissed off at someone. Like I actually would every once in a while bring up Matt, because Monday Matt was still kind of pissing me off. Like I would go on Twitter and Matt would do or say something that I'm just getting a little pissed off at. Honestly, I don't give a fuck anymore. Like Matt is going to do what Matt wants to do, and there's nothing I can do to stop it. If I talk shit on him, it's just going to reflect poorly on me. He's going to get the wrong idea and think that like I fucking despise his ass or something like that. I'm like, look, no matter how disappointed I am in someone, until they've done something really, really fucking bad, I don't hate a person. Like I used to like Liz Reptile, and then I found out Liz was starting all kinds of drama for no fucking reason, and was part of the scam for Sevi Rose that scammed people out of hundreds of thousands of dollars and shit. And I'm just like, okay, Liz, Sevi is obviously fucking like 86th. Liz, fuck you for doing that. You perpetrated that, but I didn't fucking get on the fuck Liz Reptile bullshit until her and Zeph collectively started doxing people. If you dox someone, that's the quickest way to get you on Brockus's hate list. you want to get on the Brockus hate list? Fine. I'm gonna hate you if you dox. Simple as that. But
yeah, and that's the easiest way for me to get pissed off, because you know what? Like you don't have to, you know, share other people's information to win an argument or treat people like shit like that. Because you know what? You could affect their personal life massively.
Mm-hmm.
And just because they have a different point of view, go fuck yourself if you want to share someone's information out to the world.
Like, look at Dankula, for example. He was just Count Dankula on YouTube. He made stupid videos for him and his friends to enjoy that were hilarious. He does the pug video. Suddenly the world blows up and then somebody doxes him and says his real name is Marcus Meacham, and he lives in Scotland and Glasgow and all that stuff. His information gets out there, and for 2 years he's been dealing with this court bullshit, to which no company would be willing to touch him. He applied to several jobs and was denied every fucking time. He was fired from his job or let go from his job, however you want to say it, because of the trial and everything like that. That is just one example of how you could potentially destroy somebody's life just by doxing them. Because if he was just known as Count Dankula, nobody would have fucking found out anything.
No, exactly. And it would have been one of those things where it would have just been, that's the Nazi pug guy on, but they wouldn't have known his name. He would have never potentially lost his job.
Exactly.
Oh man, I don't get this. Like, sometimes I don't understand the internet community and why people want to, go after people so hard. I think it's a left, leaning thing.
Well, I can kind of understand certain appeal because, as a fan of internet blood sports, and a guy who consistently watches it as often as he can, it is cathartic to watch two people that do not like each other just yell it out online and see the obvious winner become the winner and everything, especially if it's, your favorite of the two combatants and everything like that. We understand it's not real blood sports. We understand it's not real fighting. We understand that maybe, just maybe, it's not a very healthy thing to actually do, to be that pissed off all the time. But it's entertaining. It sure as fuck makes people feel better about themselves because, it kind of reassures that this shitty person is a shitty person. I'm not as shitty as this person, hence I'm a better person, stuff like that. Like there are a lot of benefits I could actually sit here and make and so on and so forth. But at the core of it, it's fun. It's entertaining. I laugh. I cry because I'm laughing so hard. It's fucking fun. So I understand the concept of going in on people like that. But to do it to the degree that Kristi Winters does is fucking obsessive, psychotic, and downright sociopathic. It's disgusting. She clearly has an actual fucking problem. But no one in her circle of people are going to say she has a problem because they don't want to invoke Kristi Winters' wrath. I don't know what kind of pull she has, but I can only imagine she has some kind of crazy pull to cause people to actually not try to go against her. And anyone who has tried to go against her has become like some sort of social pariah. Look at the ranting feminist, for example.
Yeah, she did go after her pretty hard, and that's a fellow feminist.
Right? Ranting feminist has not changed her actual ideologies. She's just changed who she's associated with. And ranting feminist, as Ranting Monkey has pointed out, is for the most part the more reasonable and open-minded person from Kristi Winters' circle of people. Of course, aside from Tim. But then again, Tim just hates Bering for the sake of hating Bering, so I don't know. But ranting feminist is one of the more okay feminists in that circle of people. She will disagree, but she will do it respectfully. She will call you stupid, but she won't always do it in an insulting way. She'll just kind of say, that was a very stupid point, something along those lines. She's not directly calling you stupid, and so on and so forth.
Or she's challenging your ideal and not you. And
exactly.
That's I think one of my wrenches was correct victimhood Olympics. They want to figure out the way to create themselves as a victim.
Yeah.
And Kristi's the queen of that.
Yep.
What are you doing over there?
Vaping. I forgot to put myself on mute.
Oh no, I don't care.
No worries.
I was just smoking a joint. You smoking a joint, man?
No, I don't actually smoke weed anymore. But if I did get back into to pot, it would probably just be CHB or CBD, whatever the fuck that shit is. That
oh yeah, that's not even THC, so you wouldn't even get high and just feel good on the body.
Yeah, but I would primarily get that for my shoulder, and then I might get some stuff to self-medicate myself to kind of keep myself mellow and shit until I can actually see a therapist about all of my issues and such.
right? Matt, one of my mods was like, "Be baked Alaska, be a BuzzFeed writer, be alt-right, be an activist, be blood sporter, be IRL streamer."
You sure his name is Matt and not Ewan? Because that sounds like something straight out of Train Spotting.
Yeah, that's Matt. Yeah, that's one of my mods in here. He's been around for a while. He actually helped me out with my Discord actually and set it all up.
All right.
Him,
Are you sure he's one of the main characters from Train Spotting?
probably. He's got the man beard. You just smell rocks. Cool. Yeah, dude. So I don't know. That stream was interesting to watch, and I had a hard time. Like I had to skip because I watched it after the fact, so I had to skip the stuff with the guy who has a very hard time speaking. And I don't want to say the R word, but he is very R-worded, if you get me.
Did you say retarded?
See, you said it for me, so it's all good.
I remembered the main character's name and commented in the chat. Yeah. Matt is now officially Renton. He needs to change his name to Renton.
Yeah, the Trippy wants to bang Kristi, so he's desperate. God damn,
probably.
Dude.
Probably. No, but yeah, okay. So first of all, we used to call them retarded for a reason.
Yeah.
The word retarded has not necessarily changed its fucking meaning. It's just it has been used as an insult and out of context a lot of times.
Yeah.
So understandably so, the definition, again, still stands. But I can understand why people are saying, well, don't call him retarded. No, fuck you. I'm going to call people retarded. All right? I'm going to call a retard. And if they don't fucking like it, if they get their fifis hurt and shit like that, I might be willing to actually fucking apologize to their goddamn face. Because I'm sick and tired of all these people getting so fucking offended because words hurt them. And it's just like, you know what? I really can't stand it because words don't hurt me. I have hardened my skin for so long after being bullied as a kid, after being ridiculed, fucking despised, hated, beat the fuck up by several people in my life, family members even. I don't fucking care. The only problem I have is, unfortunately, there are points in the day or my life in general where my brain decides, no, we're going to let the words hurt now. And it's not even actually your words. It's not anyone else's words that actually hurt me. It's me. It's kind of like listening to an internal monologue of your own voice, and you're saying some of the most heinous, horrible, awful shit you can actually think of to call yourself, to try to put yourself down as hard as you possibly can. And sure, they might be words that have been said to me in the past and everything, but it's not what other people are saying that's actually hurting my feelings. It's what I'm saying. Now, do I get triggered? Abso-fucking-lutely. I get triggered all the time. I am kind of like the more rageful version of Sofane. So you can kind of call me like the unholy accident of Tonkasaw and Sofane if you want.
Oh, so they birthed you.
Yeah, Tonka's rage and Sofane's level of triggering or triggeredness and saltiness exists within me. I have the worst of both worlds kind of thing.
Hey, you know what? It's at least you recognize it.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I have to get reality checked every once in a while, just because sometimes my brain will do this thing where I try to turn myself into a victim way too fucking hard, and I say and do shit that is completely confusing and shit, which is why I need people like Zell and Kadun in my life to basically throw it back in my face, because at some point I'm going to actually finally reflect on what they've said and realize, oh yeah, no, I'm being a fucking idiot. Okay. And then I go back to normal.
Yeah, but so then that's your guys' mutuality. You and Zell, bounce each other back into your roles.
Yeah. I help balance him out. He helps balance me out. It actually is a good friendship, despite how toxic it seems online and everything. because we do genuinely care about each other. Like, we've been friends for so fucking long. It's really hard to actually like get that kind of friendship with like new people. So at some points it does kind of feel like it's just friendship out of necessity. Because it's like, I don't want to break in a new best friend, dude. Like, it's shitty. So you're just gonna have to deal with my spurginess. And then he's like, yeah, well, I don't want to have to break in a new best friend either. You're just gonna have to deal with my being an asshole.
How'd you guys break each other in?
Oh, filthy, dirty, fucked up jokes, sleep depravity, and booze. Those are pretty much the key elements to create the friendship that we have to this day.
No drunken sex?
No drunken sex. Well, there was a lot of drunken sex in the beginning of our friendship, just not with each other, because like he had his girlfriend at the time, I had my kind of girlfriend at the time, and we both would have these drunken sex stories that we would eventually tell each other. Even though he's not much of a drinker, still it was just like, it's funny because he's got a few stories that are hilarious, and then I got my own, and it's just like, we're terrible people, aren't we? Yes, we are.
This makes for a good friendship, though. Like, one of my mods in here, Deus, is like one of my best friends, and that motherfucker is toxic as shit sometimes, but it's fucking hilarious because, you know what? It's nice to be around someone else who isn't going to be a pussy and is willing to drop the N-bomb and use other things and make jokes without feeling like they're hurting someone. Yeah, he's super gay. As he states that himself in the chat. But yeah, so I don't know. I know we were talking about God damn it, dude. I gotta get better at not getting distracted by this chat. I heard he's at MJ's Wonderland as a kid. Yeah, sounds about right. He was Sicko was definitely molested by Michael. It's understandable.
It wasn't even the actual Michael Jackson. It was just like a
Michael.
It was a Michael Jackson stand-in. His real name is Jim.
It was the Black Michael from the 80s.
Yeah. His name is Jim Smith.
Yeah, it's one of those things where, honestly, if you don't have people in your life who can take a joke and balance you out, I could see why so many of these people are just so fucking sensitive about everything. Like, you know, it's one of those things where, like, you have a Kanye West situation where he says, oh, you're allowing yourself to be a slave for 400 years, and people freak out. Motherfucker, listen to the context. He's talking about after slavery ended, you're still allowing yourself to be a slave. Like, god damn, are these people dumb?
I don't know, but yes. I'm going to go with yes.
Yeah, I truly think they are just idiots, and they're willing to get wound up by anything. Like, I mean, you have all of these people in the world in general, and it's just like, I don't know, man. I just want to see people learn to relax, people not like get so easily offended by everything that people say, because you know what? Life is a little bit easier when you're not fucking butthurt at people, you know?
Oh, absolutely.
So you working tonight or what?
Yeah, I eventually got to go into work, unfortunately.
Do you do overnights or what?
Yeah, I actually work the graveyard shift at my warehouse. So, or the night shift at my warehouse.
Gotcha. So you do third shift. Is it because you're fairly new or because?
Oh no. It's we only have 2 shifts, 10-hour shifts, obviously, and it's day and night shift. And when I first started working at the warehouse, because my sister was already working at the warehouse and the shift that she had was night shift, I specifically requested to be on night shift, which kind of they hesitated on getting me the schedule for about a week or so, only because the original schedule they wanted me to be on was day shift. And so I was like, no, I want to be on night shift. So they were like, okay, give us another week. So that's why.
No, I wondered why you always ended up dipping out in the middle of like the streams or towards the end of the streams. Was you know, I don't know if you, I don't know why in the hell your ass would pick fucking the late shift, man. I got to be quite honest. Like, I couldn't do that middle of the night bullshit.
Oh, I am nocturnal.
Oh, okay.
Kind of always have been. When I was a kid, I was very like, sleep at night, be up in the day, run around like a cat. I need the solar energy, all that shit. But I guess I don't know, like I kind of supermaned out a bit over the years, and now I like have too much fucking energy, and I have to sleep at night. I don't like being out in the sun all that often anymore. But yeah, I somewhere around my teen years, I just kind of turned into a bit of a nocturnal fucking person. So now I prefer to be up at night because one, I don't have to deal with a lot of people. Two, the temperature is much more appropriate for what I usually like to feel in the summertime. Not blazing hot. Three, I hate the fucking sun blinding me all the goddamn time. And four, I'm just more comfortable awake at night. By the way, I just want to make a good correction here. So looking up the information online that anyone can actually do, if you just do a quick Google search and look up, when did slavery begin in America? They say 1619. Okay. When did it end in America? 246 years later. So every single time one of these fucking people say like 400 years of slavery, nigga, there was no 400 years of slavery. That shit officially ended in 246 years later. And then some people like to try to argue, well, it wasn't all at once because slavery wasn't completely abolished. There was, that's probably another decade. So you could argue that it didn't end until 256 years later because it wasn't another 200 years afterwards. You're full of shit if you think another 200 years afterwards slavery fucking ended. Why do I say this? Because 200 years later from the fucking year that it actually ended would be the 2000s.
Well, and the 400-year mark is next year. It's next year. So when someone's talking 400 years, they're talking about the start of slavery to current.
Yeah, that's complete and utter garbage. It's bullshit, and they need to cut that shit out. That's extremely disingenuous.
Well, and I think that's what Kanye's point was, is that these people have allowed themselves to be mental slaves for an additional, 145 years.
Maybe.
Yeah, like because 400 years would be to this day. It would be 2019 would be the 400-year mark of slavery. Mm-hmm. So at least that's what I get from the context he's making and what he's saying about how, people allow themselves to be slaves. And he's talking mental. The guy's just trying to get people to be comfortable in who they are in this day and age, in the fact that there's not slavery currently. And the only people who are oppressed are those who allow themselves to be oppressed.
Yeah.
He's Looney Tunes sometimes, but I mean, in this perspective, he is right about like the oppression Olympics. Everyone wants to be oppressed this day and age.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I actually overheard people at work last night kind of talking about this very same thing. Like we were having a really nice conversation about movies and shit pretty much most of the night. And it made work go real fucking fast. And it was awesome. But then eventually someone at some point brought up a certain celebrity who was a music celebrity. And then they brought up, and then that eventually segued into Kanye. And that's when all the people that listen to hip hop pretty much in that general area were all saying the same shit. Oh, I used to fuck with Kanye, but I don't fuck with him no more. Like he's a fucking piece of shit, this and that. And I'm just like, God damn it, guys! Like there are people. There are always going to be people in this world that they can't see past their own nose.
No, and they just want to. They're not willing to see for what it is. They're blaming it on the fact that he has different views or has had these views all along. But it's like, come on, man. His music hasn't changed. Why can't you be into him now?
Yeah. I mean, like, what was it? J.K. Rowling's. I despise her politics, but I love her writing.
Yeah, yeah, I fucking hate her politics. But I was a really big nerd into Harry Potter, to be
Mhm.
quite honest. Like I've read every book at least 4 or 5 times.
Yeah.
So,
And that's the thing. Like, I know that chick would just like hate my fucking guts if I ever actually met her in person and told
oh,
her, I think you're wrong about this, and I think you need to calm down on this, and stuff like that. Whatever the case is, right? Like, do to her what she does to people online, or even just if she's talking to a crowd of people and she sees me just like kind of shaking my head, like, nope, that's wrong. No, that's wrong too. No, that's wrong. Like, she would probably despise me. She would hate my guts, and it wouldn't matter to me at all still. Like, if she pumped out another fucking Harry Potter book, I'd be like, bitch, give me that shit. I want that fantasy.
yeah, exactly. And that's what you can love a person but hate their politics, or love their politics and hate the person's like career and what they do.
Mhm.
Because I actually I like Kanye's mentality and I like his music. I've liked his music for a long time. Been into it since freaking Dropout, and well before that, his whatever his first album was called. Um and he I mean, I never really dove into his politics, and now he's putting himself out there and what he believes in, and who cares? Let the guy have his own thoughts. You can still
Yeah.
love his talent.
People can be individuals, think for themselves, and have their own opinions on shit. No one is ever going to fucking disagree with that. The problem is that their actions will always show they disagree. Oh, Kanye, you a piece of shit for going against black people like you doing. Wait, at what point did he said did he say, because I'm part white in my bloodline, in my lineage, I choose to be a white man now. Fuck all black people. Like, at what point did he actually say he was going against black people? Or has he been consistently telling people, you need to think for yourself? Doing it in a batshit crazy way, but you need to think for yourself. You need to have your own thoughts. You have to have your own opinions. Otherwise, you're just going to be another mindless sheep. And he does it in such an extreme way that people think he's crazy or whatever. And I do think he's crazy. I'm not a fan of Kanye. I might like some of his songs, but in all honesty, he's nothing to me. Like, he's just another useless celebrity that I don't give two shits about. That's it.
Yeah, and Matt said something accurate. He's all Kanye is playing 4D chess to get the black community to realize they can wager their vote and switch political parties if they want, giving them back their voting leverage, which I mean is very accurate. I mean, so they can actually see that their vote can count and they don't have to stick with the left or the right, you know?
It's just
it's political bullshit, and it's funny to watch this mindset of the left, the far left, freaking out over it because they lost a mouthpiece. At least they thought they had a mouthpiece in Kanye, and now they've lost him. In their eyes, that's what it is, you know. I
yeah.
mean, they took what, a minute snippet of that TMZ situation and made it seem like the only thing he said the whole interview was 400 years of slavery is a choice. And it's
No,
like,
he said
oh, so much
400
more.
400 years of slavery. 400 years? That sounds like a choice. And
Yeah,
it's all of y'all. Like, 400 years and it's all of y'all? That sounds like a choice. He didn't say it was a choice. He didn't say it's absolutely a choice. He didn't say any of that shit. He said that sounds like. In other words, gas the Jews sounds like you're anti-Semitic. Add a little context there, and guess what? It could just be a fucking joke a Scotsman said using his girlfriend's pug.
Yep.
Could be. I'm not saying it is always. I'm just saying could be. Now we definitely will associate gas the Jews with that fucking joke and everything because of the obvious fucking situation and all that. But like, people tend to misinterpret words all the time. And it's not really that they're actually misinterpreting words. They're refusing to hear the words for what they are. As I said, people. There are always going to be people that will never be able to see past their own nose. No matter what they say, no matter what they do, their vision is blurred.
Oh, exactly. And then you have the they don't want to see the context. They don't care about the context. Mm-hmm. And that's the Kanye situation. Let's play a minute of it. But it's a 12-minute situation where he was talking to people in the office and explaining his thoughts on the situation and where he was coming from. But no, let's paint him in this light, because you know what? He's abandoned the left. He's probably more middle ground than anything. And yeah, we're going to make him a martyr to show other people if you decide to leave the left, you're going to get fucked in the ass.
It's so fucking stupid. But then again, there's no real proof that Kanye is, was on the left in the first place. How do we know Kanye hasn't been playing the middle game this entire fucking time? He's almost never really been super political in the past. Like, he showed support for Obama, but then again, look at all the people that Obama were going up against. Obama, in his first run for presidency, went up against Hillary fucking Clinton to become the Democratic Party of for the presidency and everything. Hillary lost because she pissed a lot of people off in that around that time. In 2007, Hillary Clinton was essentially considered an evil fucking woman. Obama himself was calling her an evil fucking woman. Bernie Sanders was calling her an evil fucking woman. Everyone on the Democrats were calling Hillary an evil fucking woman. The only people that weren't were the feminists who think vagina privilege, all that shit. But of course, it's not an actual privilege.
No. Yeah, exactly. And the whole thought process of, and he said this in the interview, that he was making an allusion to when he first posted about Trump and then deleted it. He said that he had just been admitted into the hospital for some sort of surgery. Oh, he had liposuction, and he was on opiates. He went from after the surgery, taking 2 a day, to once he went into the hospital, they put him on 5 to 7 a day of opioids. And so he was high as shit when he deleted the tweet. Okay. And their big argument was, oh, well, obviously he didn't mean that. No, what he did was he probably rolled it back because people were up his ass about it. And then you have him now where he's clear-headed more, because he's like, I take 1 a week, maybe less. I've gotten, rid of that shit. And so I'm kind of clearer thinking now. And now he's willing to stand by himself instead of saying, rolling it back. But he related the Obama time frame as the current African Americans opioid crisis, because they thought everything was okay, and that he kind of made it where it wasn't as easily to recognize that maybe things weren't as good as people thought.
Yeah, there were a lot of things going on with the African American community, and I gotta say, you know what? I really hate that fucking phrase, African American. Most of the people that are in fact black in America
refer to themselves.
Yeah, they keep calling themselves African American, which, in all honesty,
they're Americans.
Your family, your people have been in this fucking country for so goddamn long. You're just American, so I'm just going to call you black. You want to call me just white, then I'm fucking going to call you just black. You're not African American. If you won't give me the dignity of saying British American or some shit like that, then fuck you. You ain't getting African American. Oh, but we don't know where we actually come from because of slavery. Yeah. Shut the fuck up. We can't even definitively see where the fuck our actual genetics truly 100% come from. I can't go back in time and trace my entire family lineage. I don't know if any of my ex-girlfriends come from the fucking lineage that they actually claim they come from and shit. We can only go by speculation, by what we know, and by what I guess Ancestry.com actually tells us. But even then, we have proof that Ancestry.com might not always be 100% fucking honest.
Yeah.
Specifically 21andMe.
What was it? Say it again.
21andMe, they were the ones that actually came under fire, because they were the ones who were actually they were giving known white nationalists results that were falsified by saying that they were actually like 25% black or some shit like that.
Oh, so they were
They were altering results on purpose.
they were trolling the white nationalists.
It wasn't an actual troll. Like, they tried to claim that it was just some kind of a harmless joke or something like that. No, I think they were doing it on purpose to try to basically say, like, well, we all come from Africa, so you've got some African in you. Let's just go ahead and change these numbers because we like to change numbers.
That's actually pretty funny, but it was it's one of those things. I actually had someone I know do that, and they had no sub-Saharan African in them at all, like because their family line started out of probably Eastern Europe, and they had like Ashkenazi Jew in them, and that was pretty much their only like other defining thing besides Eastern European and like Irish.
Yeah.
I mean, you could have no familial lines because you started out in a line that started way later, of North African or Eastern, low East Europe and low South Europe,
Exactly. Like, me and my family, we've always known from my dad's side of the family that we were Native Americans. Here's the problem with that. When you think Native American, you think of the tribes of the Old West and everything, the Apache, the Blackfoot, and stuff like that. The problem with that is that it turns out we have absolutely no blood ties to those old tribes from the old days in the Old West and everything like that. Our actual Native American blood comes from the fact that New Mexico, Texas, Nevada, Arizona, and California, or at least the bottom half of California, were all once Mexican territory. And my family comes from the Mexican bloodline. So that's the only way we're actually Native American. We're not literally Native American or anything like that, as in the Native American tribes that we all know of and shit. We're Native American in the sense that we're Mexican. That's it. We come from the Southwest. That's where my family comes from. Specifically, it can be traced all the way back to Chihuahua. But that's where my family comes from. We are not Cherokee. We thought we were because we were told we were Cherokee. That's not even remotely true. My dad did Ancestry.com, found out he has no percentage of them whatsoever. And even then, there's less fucking Mexican in his blood than we thought. Meaning my grandmother is of mixed race. She's not a full-blooded Mexican like we believed for the longest time. No, she's a mixed white girl. She's just a second-generation Mexican American because her mom came from Mexico, and that's the pure-blooded Mexican. And then she apparently mated with a few white guys, or a white guy, and then remarried an actual Mexican. And that's how we got, the family that we have and shit. So it's just like, it's this massive pile of confusion because I'm just like, so I'm more British and Irish than anything else in my entire bloodline. Like, I'm not even as Italian as I thought I was, because on my mom's side of the family, we're supposed to be really Italian, but we're also Irish Italian. And it's just like, I don't fucking know what to think anymore. Ancestry.com has fucked my brain.
Yeah, and the fact that you can't ever really know all your lines because shit. I mean, you don't take all the genetic traits, and someone's all deport the orc.
Deport the orc. Fuck you, Deus Vult, you piece of shit.
And then he's like, yeah, orc, say it to the wall.
The fucked up part is that I actually had these jokes. If I had gotten back into stand up around the time of the election and everything like that, I had these jokes that I was gonna actually start saying on stage again. I couldn't find the time or the promoter or anything like that, but I was gonna say, like, I kind of want the wall to be built. I'm just a little scared that they're gonna find out I'm actually part Mexican and throw my ass on the other side of the wall just to kind of cleanse America or some shit. just to be sure, like, he might make a brown baby at some point in his life.
Well, that's okay because Deus Vult is Chilean and white, so you guys got some similarities. He's Mexican in my eyes. He'll get deported too.
Well, I'm also Irish, and they are like, they're the Mexicans of Europe. So.
Yeah. No. They're the Africans of Europe because they were slaves too. Just remember, every race at some point has been and had slavery in their past.
Yeah, every single culture in the world, in their history, started off with a society, or at some point in their societal history, had slavery. The Irish were enslaved to the English, or they enslaved the English. There's actual proof in history that they were actually enslaving the English at one point, because the English had basically started to try to recuperate after the English had become slaves of the Romans. But after the Roman Empire eventually fell, the English were like, okay, we're going to try to actually bring ourselves back up. We're going to dust ourselves off. Who are these redhead motherfuckers?
Yeah, seriously. And that's the funniest thing is even the Irish were technically slaves in the U.S. because they were indentured servants. Mm-hmm. Granted, they had a time limit of their slavery, which was 7 years. If you came over to the States on indentured servitude, you had a time limit. So 7 years, you'd be a slave.
Well, yeah, there wasn't what indentured servitude was, and this actually does go back to the Roman days as well. You willingly put yourself in a slave position where you make no money, you work all the fucking time, and you're only there for a specific amount of time. You are there for an agreed upon amount of time. Now, the only real problem is that some of the people that would actually, be the master in the indentured servitude situation would say and do something that would up the bill even more because they most likely borrowed money from them or something like that.
Yeah.
So it would cause them to actually have to be an indentured servant for a little longer. But there was always this agreed upon time limit that after X amount of time, you can leave. Did it always happen? Fuck no. There was always going to be people that corrupted the shit out of that system. But a perfect example of what I mean by this is Varus from one of my personal favorite shows, Spartacus, season 1. Varus was Varro. Varro. He was this curly-haired blonde dude that was Spartacus's best friend, played by Chai Courtney. And his character was an indentured servant. He wasn't born a slave. He was born a Roman, but a Roman peasant. He had a gambling problem and got a fuckload of debt. Then he went to the dominus of that particular ludus and borrowed a fuck ton of money from him. He couldn't pay it all back, so he agreed upon an indentured servitude kind of thing. He's a big guy, he's muscular, so it was the fucking arena for him. He made money, though, because gladiators actually did make money for their winnings of, like, killing this person or that person and such.
Yeah,
but
bounties.
Yeah. And so fucking he made money, and what little money he had, he gave to his wife to continue to take care of his wife and kid. Varro was an indentured servant. He wasn't a fucking slave, but he was treated like a slave because of the indentured servitude fucking attitude back in those days. But he wasn't an actual slave, not like how Spartacus was or Crixus.
Yeah, and that seems to be what people don't understand is that it's okay. For the Irish, they bought their passage over to the U.S. Mm-hmm. That's what it was. They bought their passage over to the U.S. and through someone rich, and they became their slaves on contract. Now, those contracts could be extended just like in any situation. Think of it as military. Like the military this day and age, kind of slaves. Yes, they're paid, but they cannot quit easily. They cannot quit of their own volition. You know what I mean?
True.
So they're stuck in a term contract. They cannot do what they want, whenever they want, however they want. And I mean, that's the closest thing we would have in this day and age to, well, if you don't count like the, ag workers in the state of California, it's modern slavery in all regards, because they're way underpaid. It's, whatever. But that'd be the closest thing we have to slavery, because they're not paid a fair wage in a lot of regards. There's a lot of farmers who do pay fair wages, but if you can get away with it and you're hiring someone who doesn't have credentials to be here, why not? You think me or you, Brockus, are going to go out and work the fields?
I don't want to anymore. I used to. I was a landscaper for a couple of years. It sucked.
Yeah, and I did landscaping when I was younger too, but I would never do it as in the fields expected to pick, 100 baskets of fucking strawberries or whatever, or fucking cotton. Yeah. You know, it's like, I don't know. It's someone made a joke. I think it was Trippy. The Irish almost died off because they were low on potatoes. Actually, Trippy, the Irish almost died off because the parents were idiots and they didn't realize that the most nutritious part of the potato is the outside. And so they fed their kids the inside of the potato, which is because it's fluffy and seems like it's heartier, that they thought it was the important part. And then they would eat the skins. So you saw a lot of little kids dying in that time frame because their parents weren't well knowledgeable on where the nutrition of the potato came from.
The Irish almost died off because we were malnourished for too long because we didn't know what the fuck we were doing with the taters. Unless we were making it whiskey with it. Then we knew exactly what the fuck we were doing.
Right? Oh, shit. No, yeah, there's been a lot of times, and I think it's in the mindset. I think there's a lot of things that people don't understand, that every culture has had it. Granted, our country's main slavery was from Africa. Other countries started the trade with, like, Portugal and stuff, started in on it. And I mean, shit, look at how the railroads were built. Look at all these other things. You can't say that you're the only culture who's ever been a slave. Irish have been slaves. Romans, people all over the place have been slaves. It sucks, but you have to grow past it, right? Like, you have to get out of that mindset. You're not a victim now.
Yeah, but that's I think the biggest sin when it comes to these particular stories, what's going on and such. Black people who have been brainwashed by their parents, who were probably brainwashed by their parents, who were probably brainwashed by the government. Who knows? I'm not sure how far back it goes. I'm not sure where they got the idea from. But essentially, at a very young age, most Black Americans were actually told that they will never get ahead in life, that the white man will always control them, and that their people are still slaves to this day. Whatever the case is, they can make any inflammatory fucking, claim that they want, and so on and so forth. Look at the NFL, look at the NBA, look at MLB, look at NHL. That's 4 fucking sports. All 4 started being dominated by purely white athletes. What happened? Because Black people, as a joke, do not ice skate or skate in general, NHL still has very little Black representation. MLB, NBA, NFL, predominantly Black. Now Black and Samoan. Like, I don't know what the fuck the Samoans are doing, but the Black people and the Samoans are basically just fucking like jackrabbits and creating like a super race.
Right?
But basically, there's, when it comes to the athletes, when it comes to the hip hop industry, when it comes to acting, when it comes to a lot of different like celebrity kind of positions and stuff, there is a massive representation for Black people in that. And that's the stuff that is constantly glorified. No one wants to be the CEO of a Fortune 500 company unless it's with that money. But at the same time, Kanye West makes more money than someone who is a CEO of a Fortune 500 company. Like, the two of them could pull out their wallets, and I think Kanye's is just a little thicker. But that's because he's an entertainer, and that's the glorified job, not the fucking CEO and shit like that. The point I'm actually trying to make is this victimhood mentality is what has been keeping people from actually doing something with their lives, going somewhere with their talents, with their goals, and so on and so forth. And they're going to keep making excuse after excuse after excuse. And it all comes back to slavery. And the reason why it all comes back to slavery is because it's one of the worst things in American history that we can actually reflect on. The problem that people tend to do that is, and this is the ultimate sin, they will never give enough credit to the Chinese for the railroads being built, because Black people built the railroads too, so fuck you, the Chinese don't get that. They will never give the Irish enough credit. Oh, you may have been the slaves before we showed up, but your asses fucking weren't slaves when we showed up. Yeah, but they were still despised. They didn't actually get a fair shake until the 1930s. Like, that's actually a real fucking fact. The Irish have been the most hated white group in America from the 1600s to the 1900s. That is a lot longer than you guys.
Yeah, and that's the thing is it's the whole victim mentality on most people. Like it doesn't have to just be black people, it's all. And that's what I see on the left. But you have these black conservatives coming out now, and they're making waves because it's being seen like, I don't like her at all, but she makes waves. And that's like Candace Owens and that guy Hotep Jesus, funny ass motherfucker, but he's moderate, like he's a middle leaning conservative guy, but he's a comedian, and he's the one who fucking went to that Starbucks and said, you know what, I heard you guys are giving out free coffee to black people because you guys are racist to black people. And then like the white Starbucks employees like, oh yeah, I heard that too, here's your coffee. It's like really but he trolled the shit out of them, and it fucking made for the funniest shit ever.
Yeah, and there's always going to be like those diamonds in the rough. Like, I don't like to generalize people, but it's really difficult to not just simply generalize people all the fucking time. Let's face facts. I think one of the main reasons why I will generalize people like I have been is because the other side isn't giving me any credit at all. They're not actually willing to hear me out. They're not willing to actually say hashtag not all or anything like that. I've gotten into this fight over and over again with friends online, with actual IRL friends on Facebook. And the reason why I've gotten into these stupid fucking fights is because when they were talking about Hollywood and how racist Hollywood was / still is and stuff like that, I keep explaining to them, are you fucking kidding me, people? Look, corrupt, yes. Racist? I don't think so. Hollywood started off as one of the most right-wing, Republican, conservative bunch of people you would ever meet. Like somebody like, I was talking about Sidney Poitier last night. Sidney could not get a good enough fucking shake, but that man never gave up on his dream, and he is one of the greatest actors of all time.
He is.
Yeah, and it took the Academy so many decades to finally give him a fucking Oscar for a Lifetime Achievement Award. You know, and this is Hollywood now. Somewhere in the 80s, Hollywood went from being right-wing conservative to being left-wing liberal. And now everybody in Hollywood is practically almost always a Democrat. You might get a few like random Republican conservatives here and there, like William Shatner or James Woods or fucking Tim Allen. You might get a few of them, but like now, if you're an open right-winger or an open conservative, if you lean anywhere in that right area, you are now a social pariah. People fucking hate your guts and stuff. You're not going to get work anymore. We don't like you because we don't want to hire you and stuff. They're essentially discriminating on people for ideas, for wrong thinking, all that shit. So when people try to say that Hollywood is racist, no, it's not really racist. It's fucked up. It's corrupt, but it's not really racist. And I got into this argument with my friend on so many different things because he was arguing Power Rangers. And at one point, I brought up to him, okay, let me point out how full of shit you really are on this. In the MCU, TV shows and movies, we are consistently seeing predominantly white characters in the comic books and in actual Norse lore being replaced by black actors. Now, for the most part, I don't really mind. Everybody keeps throwing a fucking fit about it, and I honestly don't give two shits. All right. Idris Elba is an amazing actor. So when I found out he was playing Heimdall, I was like, yeah, but he's actually not supposed to be a black guy. Heimdall's name translated means white or pale one.
Yeah.
It's like you can't really, that doesn't make any goddamn sense. I mean, I guess he could be considered a pale guy compared to some of the people in Africa, but sure, I guess we'll go with that. Fuck it. Not a big deal. Not a huge fucking deal. Idris Elba is still an amazing actor. Didn't care. When I found out Iris was being played by a black chick, didn't care. All I cared about is her hair red. That's all I wanted. It's like, give me redheaded Iris because she's supposed to be a redhead. So I didn't really care that much. I might make a big deal out of it at first because it seems like Now they're really just pushing for this shit just to piss everybody off, just for like the fucking hate views and stuff. But it's honestly not that big of a deal. But if I'm still seeing black people complaining about whitewashing and shit, all I have to do is just turn to them and say, all right, Iron Fist, let me explain how this doesn't make sense. The guy who trained Iron Fist is a fucking obvious Oriental Asian man, Chinese as fuck.
Yeah.
His son later shows up in the show, and that's his best friend who turns on him. Davos, I think, was his name.
Yeah, yeah.
He's played by a Middle Eastern man. Explain this to me. He's got a British accent. The other guy never had one. He grew up and lived in an area where British accents were not very common. And his dad is Chinese as fuck. Explain how the hell that is supposed to be his son. Because that's not his son. That is not his son at all. In fact, if you actually read the comic books, that character is supposed to be Chinese as fuck too. Or Tibetan as fuck. Whichever way you want to look at it. Just fucking for argument's sake, and I'll be racist. Chinese. They're Chinese. They're supposed to be Chinese. They're predominantly Chinese. These characters are all fucking Chinese.
Yeah.
But in the show, they decided, no, it's not enough representation. So let's go ahead. You know who's being hated right now? Middle Eastern people. Well, they're also Asian. So, I mean, we're not exactly breaking the rules. It's a technicality. Oh, I fucking hate you.
That's that big uproar about Iron Fist being white. Come on, motherfuckers. The character was white in the comic books. You don't have to change everything. Yeah, it's not like they're changing him to a white person because they want to make it a white character. No, it was a white character to begin with. Like, it's just the whole mentality that people want to get pissed off and say things like, oh, well, they put white people in like Japan, feudal Japan and stuff. And I'm like, to say that there probably wasn't when there's historical record of, why? Why are you getting so mad? Like, it's a story, and stories are of the creator's mind. Like people were throwing a fit because Jared Leto was in a movie based in Japan about a guy after World War II who wants to join the Yakuza because he has such renown for the country. And he just happens to be a white guy. Like, who gives a shit what he is?
Yeah, honestly, they lose their shit over the dumbest things. Like, for example, Iron Fist is a perfect example. They threw a giant fit, and this was even in the 70s when he made his first appearance. They threw a giant fit because the Kung Fu guy wasn't Chinese. So you want to be a stereotype, even though you've been telling us for years, don't stereotype me like that? Well, not everybody who's Asian knows Kung Fu. Fair enough. Why are you bitching about this one then? Because he's not Asian who knows Kung Fu. Because that's his whole shtick. That's the whole thing behind Iron Fist. He's a guy who knows Kung Fu. The mystic arts of Kung Fu. Fuck off with your fucking racism. Clearly, you're the racist, not me. And then another good one was, who did they throw a fucking fit with? The whitewashing of Ghost in the Shell.
Oh, God.
Yeah. Dude, seriously. The actress that they chose, Scarlett Johansson, is, yes, known as a white woman. She was approached to play the role. Now, this was their number one pick, but they did specifically go to the original creator of Ghost in the Shell to actually get his perspective. Like, who would you like to see the role of the Major being played? Do you know who he fucking said is his number one choice?
Scarlett Johansson.
Yeah. Exactly. He actually wanted Scarlett Johansson to play the fucking role because he thought she looked just like the Major, especially if she got the wig and everything like that. And they went over to Japan to a bunch of different people, random people, fans of the show, all that stuff. And they asked them the same question. Does this woman look like the Major? And everyone lost their shit. It was like, oh my God, she looks exactly like the Major. But the fucking people in America, the fucking easily triggered white people, a handful of triggered black people, and then the triggered Asian people are all throwing a goddamn bitch fit and saying, fucking, this is just more whitewashing. This is Hollywood whitewashing. How fucking dare you? You pieces of shit. How fucking dare you? Really?
Well, and they get mad in general because you look, they got mad when Tilda Swinton, or however you pronounce her name, played the
the ancient one,
yeah, the ancient one. But how many female characters would have you had in that movie if you didn't have the ancient one? One.
True.
You would have one other female character, which was Doctor Strange's girlfriend and love interest. You would have set pieces, people in the background, but of main characters of the origin story of Doctor Strange, there was little to no females. So are you going to get mad because they chose a white woman? Or are you going to get mad because there's not enough women? What you got to pick your battles. Like, I mean, they could have found an Asian woman, I guess, but maybe they didn't want to go with that. I don't know. Who gives a fuck? Maybe they didn't audition well, but it was an Asian male role.
Yeah. The backstory behind that, and probably why they went the route that they did, was because the Ancient One has always been a Tibetan monk, and the Chinese do not like the Tibetan people. Yeah. They don't like them at all.
And that's why they didn't set it in Tibet. It was, what was it, Kamatau? That was outside of Tibet, right?
No, it was at, oh man.
They set it in Nepal.
I literally watched it last night and I can't even fucking remember. But yeah, it was like something like Kamatau or something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so they changed some things to appease the Chinese audience that they were inevitably going to have. Now, granted, yeah, maybe they could have just gotten Chow Yun-Fat to play the Ancient One. That would have been cool. But at the same time, where's the women representation? Don't you want to see a strong woman in power? But everybody threw a fucking bitch fit. I think that was one of those situations where feminism versus the extreme SJWs didn't know how to feel about it. Like, people would just speak up and be like, this is whitewashing. And then the feminists were just like, sure, we'll give you this one.
All right. I figure you got to get to work soon, man. You want to shill your stuff?
Yeah. I'm actually going to be taking off right now. You can see me just about every night on the cunt stream when, you know, Schmeckel's shit isn't fucking up. But I'm on the cunt stream. Love Your Mondays on Mondays. Han Solo on Tuesdays. CNN on Sundays. Regular cunt streams on Saturdays. Thursday night, you're going to be doing the new thing, Societal Cancer, which is actually very promising, I think.
Yeah, and I think bouncing you in and Schmeckel and Samaj is a good fill for the show, because you have just enough variance from me that we can bounce off of each other, you know?
Yeah. Fair enough. Aside from Cunt Stream, I'm pretty much on every Tuesday afternoons, Proper Villains Live, which you can find at Help for the Guildless. And I'm going to eventually get back to my Brockus talks at some point, sometime soon, which I'm probably going to do in the afternoons before a Cunt Stream, but I'm probably going to not do a Cunt Stream that night. So I'm going to talk to Schmeckel and see about a day off and shit. Other than that, you can find me on Twitter at Brockus_Fury.
You want to drop your Proper Villains link in the sidebar, and I'll throw it in the chat.
Let me go ahead and get that channel real quick.
And that way I can actually put it in the description too. You've been on Trippy Poop's channel a few times too.
Oh yeah. Every once in a while, Trippy Poop does his Trippy cast, and he might call me in for one if I'm free. I will jump in on that shit because the shit is fun.
And apparently, Deus Volt wants to know why orcs are only portrayed as villains.
That's an excellent question. I don't know.
It's because you're the black guys of Fantasyland.
Oh, I'm not a mod on your channel.
Oh, here, got you. Throw up something in chat, and I'll throw you a mod. There you go, brother. But yeah, thanks for joining me in the first show, man. Just trying to, mix it up a little, and when people aren't around, get some new stuff rolling. Because I don't know what I want to do with the live stream stuff. I don't want to get too heavy into IBS. I don't mind some debate stuff, but it's not. I don't want to just focus on only IBS.
Yeah, as much as I do enjoy watching it and I do enjoy talking about it, sometimes I think that there are so many people out there actually talking about it that I might want to ease up every once in a while and just talk about something else, which is why I like to go to the nerdy stuff. Or every once in a while, I will talk about some of the SJW bullshit going on Twitter and YouTube and shit like that. Like, for example, Kristi Winters, that is a topic that it never really gets old, but eventually does get creepy.
Yeah, and that's why I don't mind talking about her occasionally when she does some crazy shit. And it's a lot easier to just have conversations with people who've interacted or seen how stupid she is.
Right.
So, alrighty, guys. So if you are new here and you're not subscribed, any of you who are actually following me, you probably all are subscribed. So if you're new, throw a subscription on the channel. Check out my links. Go check out Brockus' stuff too. And I will see you guys tomorrow night, maybe, if I'm not on Cunt Stream or something else. Night, guys.